Hey everybody, welcome back to the Common Gourmet. As you can see by the slightly funky look of the video, I'm still playing with different camera mic combinations. You can afford what you can afford, so I'm messing with what I've got for now. Uh, Eventually, hopefully we'll get some better cameras, but for now, I'll stick with what I got. So this week, I don't normally like to do recipes that require specialized equipment or expensive equipment. But sometimes you just have to. You ha- this is a recipe that a lot of people go, "You can make marshmallows?" Yeah, it's really not that hard. If you don't know how, then it probably seems like a little bit of cooking magic. But really and truly, it's a pretty straightforward and simple recipe. But it does require a stand mixer and a decently powerful one. If you have an old one that smells like ozone 30 seconds after using it, it probably won't live through this recipe. I was fortunate enough to be given a KitchenAid for Christmas a couple of years ago, so I definitely have the power to put forth to it. Marshmallows are something that are versatile, they're relatively easy, and everybody likes them. It's basically a solidity base or structure base rather, with a simple syrup and then air. Now, a lot of people use egg whites for their base. I don't like egg white. It, it's good. I mean, it's been used for years, but I always worry, even with the hot syrup being poured into it and the technically it's going to cook the egg whites. I always worry about leaving that out. I don't like a cold marshmallow. So I use a gelatin base, and you can add flavorings and colorings and whatnot to it. My friends over at the Lothlorien Foreign Legion have been asking me for some different stuff, and I mentioned these the other day. And they're like, "Ooh!" So this is for them. I hope you enjoy this. I really have been very grateful for everybody coming and viewing my videos and the likes. Don't forget there's a like button down over here somewhere, and then there's a subscribe button up over here somewhere. Be sure and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of these videos. I hope you enjoy this, and let's go make some marshmallows. Here we have the bowl from the stand mixer. I'm going to put a half cup of very cold water in here, and it does need to be very cold. And we are going to sprinkle in 3 packages of unflavored gelatin. This is called blooming. And what it does is it allows the gelatin to start absorbing water. If you put this in hot water, the gelatin will gelatinize and it won't want to soak the water in. You can find this usually in the same area you can find your flavored gelatins in the store. Now I have in a heavy saucepan a cup and a half of sugar. That's superfine table sugar, white sugar, whatever you want to call it. A half cup of cold water. I'm going to turn on the stove there. Into this I am going to put 1 cup of corn syrup. Now this can be white, or what I have here is the golden corn syrup. Does it really matter? Not that I've found. I found the flavor to be almost identical. The coloring may be a hair off of bright sparkling white, but not enough to be of any concern. So at this stage we're going to mix this together just enough to combine. Some people just turn it on and leave it. It doesn't really matter. I like to combine it just because that syrup is so thick. Sometimes it takes a little longer than I am happy with to boil in as it mixes, or mix in as it boils. We are going to cover this. I don't have a tight fitting lid for this pot, so I just put an extra large lid on and set the timer for 4 minutes. Now what this does is as it starts to heat and the steam condenses on the lid, comes back down the side of the pot, and it will wash away any extra sugar crystals that have gotten stuck to the side. Now we're going to boil this for 7 to 8 minutes. If you have a candy thermometer, which I no longer do, I wish I did,
You're going for the softball stage or the fudge stage, which is 240. What I had to do was use the cold water drop method. You take a spoonful out, you drop it in cold water, and see what it looks like. There's the thread stage, softball, which is what we're going for. The syrup forms a soft ball dropped into cold water. There's hard ball, and there's the cracks, and there's all that. Now, as you see here, we've reached the full rolling boil. This is where the sugar starts to concentrate, and that's really all the different stages are. The longer it boils, the more water comes out of it, the more the sugar concentrates, the hotter it gets. Now, watch, be careful. Ooh, I didn't actually burn myself there, but a little pocket of steam escaped, and it hurt. Now, I would have loved to have shown you, look, here's the threads and here's the softball, but to be honest, I just didn't have time. Once this thing starts reaching its point, the temperature, you don't have a lot of time. The point from softball to hardball is 2 seconds of not paying attention. So as soon as it's ready, or getting close to ready, you want to get prepped. We want to go over and get the bowl on the stand mixer with our nice bloomed gelatin. So we're going to see here in just a second. It's all absorbed up all that water. See, it's all funky looking and it's nice and soft in there. See, squish, squish. We're going to put this on the stand mixer. We are going to turn the stand mixer to stir. And then we are going to take that pot of syrup and slowly pour it in. Now you want to actually pour this down the side of the bowl, not directly in on the mixer. I have the whisk attachment going. This is very important, not the paddle. The whisk attachment's needed for getting the air beaten into it. If you do this too fast, you can splash this up, and this stuff is extremely painful. It's a sugar syrup, and it's very, very hot, and it will just adhere to anything that it touches like glue, and at these temperatures, it can cause quite serious burns. So this is a stage you want to be extremely careful with. Once you get all the syrup in, set your pot off to the side. I just put it back on the stove for now, on a cold burner. Now we turn the mixer up to high. I just do it on a little slowly. I don't want it to go, so you can see the steam coming up out of there, because that stuff is hot. We are going to mix this for a minimum for marshmallows of 13 minutes. You see it in there. It's all. This is just literally within maybe 20 seconds of pouring it in. You can see how it's already turned white. It's thickening. It will double or triple in volume, depending. 10 minutes will give you marshmallow fluff. So if you like a nice fluffer nutter, you can pull it at 10 minutes. If you want a nice soft puffy marshmallow, you go 12 to 13. If you'd like a more solid marshmallow, like a truly cuttable, then you want to go up to 15. I don't recommend going over 15 because the mixture just becomes so solid at that point, it's almost impossible to get out of the bowl. Now we're going to let this whip on high for... I did mine. I ended up going for the full 15, which is fine. I still had a little trouble getting it out in the end. I wanted to show you real quick. This has been going for about 12 minutes. See, it's nice and thick, and it's getting that nice glossy look to it. Now, 1 minute before you're ready to pull it, you want to add your flavoring and or coloring. I'm just putting vanilla in this. As of course we always do, a nice skadoosh of vanilla. Look at that thing. Look at it go. That just loosened her right up. You have to be careful when you're doing that too, because if you think your bowl's already a little over full, and you do that, that can splash out and make a big old hairy mess. Now you can see the vanilla's actually changed the viscosity of it. Even though still a large portion of it is centered on the whisk, you can see more of it's now sticking to the outsides onto the bowl. We're going to let this finish beating for a minute. Now, I've always preached, make sure you have everything prepared ahead of time. I didn't do that. I was out of powdered sugar and didn't realize it. You can use straight cornstarch. It's not terribly flavorful, but it's also not horrible. So what I did was I lightly buttered the pan, I cornstarched it, and I went ahead and laid down a sheet of parchment, just because I don't really particularly care for the taste of cornstarch. Now, as I mentioned, I beat this for 15, so it's quite stiff. It's extremely sticky. I thought about leaving, all the scraping of the bowl and the pulling it out in, but honestly, the lighting got weird, so we just cut it from there. Once you get it out, you put it in the pan, you spread it, smash it out however you like. You can then cover it in powdered sugar on top. You can put it in the fridge if you like. A lot of people do to solidify it quicker. I don't. I just leave it out and let it sit for a few hours. Pull it out of the pan, and then at a 15-minute mix, you can actually cut it into squares. It toasts nicely. You can, if you've added coloring to it, you can, make it as big or as small as you want. Little, bits for the kids, or, big pieces for, you can cut nice squares out for s'mores. That's always nice. Toast it up. It's already in square form. Fits around the s'more. There's just anything you can do with regular marshmallow, pretty much you can do with this. So do whatever you like with it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope it was informative. Don't forget to give me a like if you did like this, and subscribe for more. And until next time, enjoy cooking.